is key in any nation that desires to grow. And from what we know about moving from point A to point B requires some form of movement, some form of road infrastructure, some form of mechanism that can move the people from point A to point B. Greetings, my name is Omololu Rosonwo. On Talk Point today, we'll be looking at traffic and transportation, or otherwise put, transportation and traffic management in Lagos State. I have a guest in the studio, is Yinka Aderibigbe. Yinka, nice to have you on Talk Point.
Yeah, thank you very much, Omololu. It's nice being here once again.
Yes.
I appreciate you.
Thank you for coming on board. What we're looking at today is your forte. Yes, you write transportation, you are the editor in that area, and let's first look at an holistic transportation policy. How has it impacted on Nigeria, and with particular reference to Lagos State as the center of excellence?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think Lagos State is benefiting from the beauty of democracy and the growth of progressive democracy, where the now president, when his tour of duty touched down in Lagos as a governor, gave to Lagos so much of laudable dreams, one of which is Lamata, which started in 2003. That agency clocked 20 years last year, and they now got to breathe a new lease of life on the congestion and confusion that you see around Lagos State. Before he came in, there has been series of administration coming with different models and ideas about how to control and contain and manage transportation in Lagos. Lagos is key because it is the economic nerve center. It is the commercial capital of Nigeria. Virtually all major businesses, manufacturing and all, have their base in Lagos. So you have that, it's a melting point, and so there's so much of activity, and human element must also move from one point to the other. That's all the essence of transportation, and that's why it is regarded as the nexus, as the life wire of business and economy. If you don't get transportation right, you won't get anything right. And so that's why he, as the governor then, decided to establish a special purpose agency that would be in charge of thinking through the master plan, or a master plan for Lagos transport management. And that agency came up with a policy that has sustained Lagos State, as it were, initiating, in terms of the road elements, you have close to 150 BRT lanes scattered all around the metropolitan Lagos. You have water lines, you have the rail component. They developed about 6 color-coded metro lines. You have blue that has been delivered now, which is electric. You have the red line, you have the brown line, you have the green line, you have the purple line. So all of these color codes are transiting and networking Lagos to ensure that, just like you now have, or you have what you call a circular rail system that will capture all vehicle modes around the state, to ensure that they give as much as possible many alternatives to Lagosians to move. Because while you have about 23 million people and still growing, and very much more still coming in as well, you need to be on your feet thinking about how to move them from one point to the other, just as you said. And that cannot be done justifiably on one single mode. So you need to have even the non-motorized modes, walking from this your point here to, you can take a walk to Coke, you can take a walk to Daily Times. It's part of the modes of transportation and must be encouraged by the government. And that's why from the Fashola years, you see a deliberate attempt to not only expand the roads and make it conducive for more, to contain more vehicular elements, but they now have a walkway. They even have a bicycle lane. So that you if you feel like taking a bicycle, you can take your bike without the fear of they will hit me from the front or I'll be hit at the back, and So all of that is also coming in. But largely, especially this government, has been able to give, for the price of one, they've given two. We were expecting that it is the blue line they will deliver, because that's what is already almost done, But as God will have it, we now have two being delivered to us. The second one, which is the red line, was commissioned February 29 this year by the man that envisioned it at the point.
Yes.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Let me, since you mentioned the other color codes for the lines, let me just quickly take that and let's dwell on it a little. When you look at, we have the blue line, which has been commissioned. Yeah. We have the red line that's also in use. It's not in use. Partially.
It's going on test drive.
Yes, partially.
Now. Yes, by September, according to the laid out schedule, they will begin commercial operation.
Yes, okay. Yes, I just needed to make that point so that we will know if it's fully in use or not.
By September, it will be commercial.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, let's look at the other lines. So we hear there is the green line.
Yes.
There is a yellow line.
Yes.
The brown.
From
what point to the other are we expected to have those? Is it along the Lagos Island corridor? Or where?
The green line is the one that captures the Lagos corridor. That is, we take off from Marina and land at the free trade zone.
Okay.
And it's of essence that becomes a major priority because of the huge activity that is going to take off there. It's already happening. You have the fertilizer plant. Dangote Fertilizer is already,
there are other companies there too.
There are other companies using the free trade zone. There is also the Dangote refinery. So you need to see how to capture movement of people on that corridor. You have the brown line that is going to take off from Baga and land at somewhere around Redeem. And that will take the choke off the traffic there. You have another one that will take off around Badagry. I think that's the purple. Take off around Badagry and move straight to Okoko, around that cluster. So there's that element to ensure that as much as possible, you have alternatives or alternative modes of transportation in Lagos State. And that answers to the big, and if you look at it very well, yes, 5 divisions, but all the divisions are blessed with inland waters. So you can maximize even the inland waterways. You can have your ferries on them and encourage people to use the waters to move. It's even cheaper. It's better, it's even faster, And people using the blue line now can attest to the fact that it's very efficient. You can, as a matter of precision, predict when you will be in your office, do your businesses, and move without being or having much to do with the road.
From Okoko area of Mile 2.
From Mile 2.
Yeah, Mile 2.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's supposed to extend to Okoko.
To Okoko, yes.
Area.
Yeah, exactly.
But from Mile 2 now to Lagos Island, you can always get on the blue line.
Oh, yes,
which
you can.
Of course people are already using.
Yes.
Now, I needed us to just look at that a little. Let's look at the road transportation per se now. Now, we see some overpass, be it bridges or flyovers coming up. And I know the Lagos State government has done the Agege Pen Cinema, which the former governor started. The current governor has put so many in place. If you look at the Yaba, Onyopan, Oyingbo, Mushin overpass, and the recent one, which is the Onyepan. Now, what are we expected to have as a kind of chain with those bridges and the rail lines that connect?
Yeah, the whole essence of having an overpass is to take off the human impact on the rail corridor. Because just as what we are having on the Blue Line, that has had its frequency increased to 72, by the time the red line begins, and because it's not electrified yet, it is going to run on diesel, you will have even much more frequency. And so you cannot afford to have people just dashing across the rail lines. You cannot afford people to be trading along the rail lines. You can't afford people to just be doing whatever they like along the corridor. So they must take that element off. That's where those overpasses come in. So you won't say that, oh, I want to just, there's a level crossing. I want to just take my vehicle across the road. I mean, I just live close there. No. You have to use the overpass. That ensures that no vehicular movement occurs on the corridor. Remember, there was a case in point last year when a vehicle carrying staff of the government had a collision at Shogunle.
Yes.
Yeah, those are the kind of things that
government is trying to avoid.
Yes, that government is trying to avoid. As much as possible, government is trying to ensure that people who are going to use the corridor are responsible enough and respect the rules, much as even the government is taking possession of the entire corridor. If you look now, what you have before were the corrugated iron mesh fence. What you are having now is that they are even doing a concrete fencing of the entire stretch from Oyingbo.
That's huge.
That's huge in terms of cost, but it must be done because you need to ensure that you do not just give an opportunity for somebody who is already committed to using his fundamental right to suicide to go on the lane and say, well, nothing will happen to me. I have the blood of Jesus. You understand? I mean, there may be people like that, but government must ensure that the entire corridor, as much as possible, is kept safe. Whoever now wants to even trespass on all of that provisions will be liable to be arrested and prosecuted.
Okay, let's look at the water transportation too. Apart from the water transportation, we see the first and last mile buses, the high capacity buses that are already running. And we see the effect of some of those things, even with the 25% reduction in transportation, which has been put in place in Lagos State by the current administration. But even at that, how can we still further harness the potential that are bound in on the waterways, because that's another area that have not yet been fully tapped into?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the government is massively looking into water transportation. Of recent, it gave some kind of understanding. There's an understanding between the government and Caverton Marine, and that brought about the Omi bus. Is it Omi Eco? Ferries.
Yes.
Omnibus.
Omnibus.
Omnibus
It's called
ferries.
Omnibus.
That alone is a very huge opportunity. Why? Because Calverton Marine can even produce and are even producing, not can produce, they are producing those things locally.
Okay.
I was at their building yard,
Okay.
and I was shocked at the level of competence that we can find locally, even in the construction of, light water ferries of such nature. So look at the economic in that. Look at the employment opportunities in that, and look at the potentials. By the time we further clean up all our waterways, we further chart them properly, and now make them navigable, and begin to deploy more. Just before, I think May 29, the government actually commissioned 15 of these kind of buses on the waters, and they are large bodied buses that can take minimum of like 48 passengers. I mean, look at taking 48 people just on a trip across the water, and it's safe. You can even do plugins on your devices and all of that. So I think it's an opportunity, it's an avenue, and it's an economy that the government is looking at. And not only that, they are even investing in keeping the waterways very safe. There's a control center at Laswa head office that has been built to ensure that the entire Lagos water bodies are properly captured. Anything going on that corridor is seen and noted and being followed up. So there's no issue of, something happened around some riverine area, they came from the waters attacking Lagos. That's a thing of the past, because there's a control center that keeps watch on the Lagos waterways, and is, kudos to this administration. When you are talking of their commitment to the theme's agenda, and especially traffic and transportation management, is top-notch for the Lagos State government. And the state is actually a doyen among sister states. Many of them are coming to Lagos to come and learn. If it's possible in Lagos, it's also possible elsewhere. And they are coming to the state to learn how to do it well. So I wouldn't want Lagos State to drop the baton. I don't want them to drop the ball. Transportation is a huge economy. It requires more investment. Even on the rail corridor we are talking about, we are just seeing the first leg, which is the first phase. Both red and blue need to be carried through to the second phases. We know that the blue line is already ongoing to Okoko. But also, as we begin activity on the red line, we also must be looking at getting it to the last destination. Beyond all of that, we need, just like Oliver Twist, we need more.
Charles Dickens, Oliver Twist.
Exactly.
I want some more. Yes, Lagosians would want some more. Nigerians would want some more. But even as we desire to have more, what roles are we supposed to be playing in terms of maintenance, in terms of ensuring that you keep public infrastructure safe, so that it won't be vandalized? Because we see some areas now where over the years some roads have been built with aluminum railings. They've been cut. Do we continue with this? I even saw a footage 4 weeks back that I sent to the Ministry of Works through the Public Relations Officer. Somebody literally in the Festac area cutting the bridge, removing the iron. When do we stop, or how do we stop all this?
It's a phase in development that we have to really decide that this is not part of us, and government must do everything possible, not only to arrest, but to prosecute in the very strictest of terms. when we begin to see that there's repercussion for some of these things, it will be sending the appropriate signals to those who are behind this growing economy. We must put our foot down to say, no, this economy will not thrive. Because there's an economy behind it. There are people who feel, oh, if we take this to the market, there is a market that will accept it. There's a market that will, maybe go take it to the foundry and melt it. So we must ensure that, no, look for your raw materials elsewhere. You don't use the public materials for public good for those kind of things. So government must continue on mass mobilization. They must continue on enlightenment. But far above that, they must continue to enforce and to punish anyone that is found doing any of such things all around Lagos.
Yes, as we round up now, I know that we have looked at some areas for the first pillar, the themes agenda, the themes plus agenda. Now, one critical area that we must not but mention is the support for government initiatives. Now, what advice do you have now as we round up in just 30 seconds?
Yeah, just to let Lagosians know that they can't get it better, and that what we can continue to do is to support all of these initiatives and to own them. Because if you don't own them and you say, oh, it is Sanwo-Olu's business, oh, it is one councillor's business, oh, it is that. No, because they did not use their personal money to put those things there. It is our collective wealth that brought them to be, and so we must own them. If you see anybody trying to vandalize anything belonging to public good, please make noise about it. And from that point, we leave the government not only to apprehend them, but to sanction them heavily.
That's about the size of our package today on Top Point. I've been speaking with Yinka Aderibigbe, news editor, and Forte in the transport and traffic management system. Thank you so much, Yinka, for being part of Top Point.
Thank you very much for having me once again. It's happy being here. Thank you.
Yes, on that note, we have come to the end. And 767 and 112 are still the lines to always call in times of emergency. Stay out of trouble. Contribute your own quota to the development of Nigeria and, of course, Lagos State, so that they can continue to remain the signal show of all eyes. I am Omololu Rosawo, signing out.